Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is running into the all-time high as the Bitcoin ETFs just bought over $500 million worth of Bitcoin just yesterday, which could be repeating what we saw just last week. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, along with Ethereum, which is now breaking out above significant resistance, along with other altcoins already breaking out further to the upside. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, we need to talk about the Bitcoin ETF news today because just over the last one day, the Bitcoin ETFs had a net inflow of over $500 million. More specifically, $562 million flowed into the Bitcoin ETFs overall just yesterday. And if we're taking a look at these numbers more closely, we can see that BlackRock, which is IBIT, bought around $420 million worth of Bitcoin because they had a $420 million inflow into the BlackRock ETF, whereas Fidelity actually had a record day yesterday. This was the biggest inflow into the Fidelity Bitcoin ETF of around $404 million flowing into the Fidelity Bitcoin ETF just yesterday. And so once again, between BlackRock and Fidelity alone, they accumulated over $800 million worth of Bitcoin just yesterday. But of course, some of those inflows were offset a little bit by the outflows from Grayscale because once again, we saw another outflow from Grayscale. And this time, just yesterday, we saw around a $368 million outflow coming out of Grayscale, which is essentially selling pressure. But overall, when we're looking at all of the inflows and outflows for just yesterday, just on the Monday, that leaves us with a net inflow of around $562 million. And so once again, we can think of this as $562 million. This is new money coming into Bitcoin, essentially buying up Bitcoin. Because remember, this money goes into the ETFs, and then the ETF providers like Fidelity or BlackRock, for example, take that money to actually buy actual spot Bitcoin on the spot market to back the ETFs. And so this is why I've been saying for a while now on the channel, if we're seeing these massive net inflows, like $500 million of net inflows each weekday, this is of course going to pump the price of Bitcoin much higher. And that's exactly what we saw just last week, because if we're looking at the numbers for last week, between the 26th to the 1st, the majority of the inflows last week happened in the first 3 days, on the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then we had a relatively small net inflow on the Thursday, and actually a net outflow on the Friday. And so due to that, we didn't really see any major moves on Thursday and Friday in the price of Bitcoin because the Bitcoin ETFs were not really doing anything too major in the bullish direction on Thursday or Friday. But especially if we're taking a look at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday here on the Bitcoin chart, that is right here, this area on the chart. And so it is very clear the effect that the Bitcoin ETFs, if we're seeing massive inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs, it's very clear the effect that that has on the Bitcoin price. Because once again, this area on the chart right here is Monday last week to Wednesday last week, or the very start of Thursday. And obviously, we can see a significant move to the upside during those days when we were seeing significant inflows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday last week. And then once again, on the Thursday and Friday, right around here, we didn't really see anything too special in the price of Bitcoin, a lot of choppy sideways price action because we weren't really seeing much in the Bitcoin ETFs. And then, of course, over the weekend, the ETFs do not trade, so we saw a lot of sideways price action over the weekend. But we can already see just over the last one day the effect that this massive new net inflow had that we saw yesterday. We can already see this affecting the price of Bitcoin, as we can see right here. And so once again, if we simply repeat what we saw last week in terms of inflows, already we're seeing a massive inflow like what we saw on the Monday last week. And so if we simply continue to see these massive net inflows each weekday, like for example, $500 million or more of net inflows coming into the Bitcoin ETFs, then of course that's going to pump the price of Bitcoin much higher. So we could potentially see a repeat of what we saw last week. And so this is why I've been saying over and over again here on the channel, it's going to be very hard to see a significant pullback in the price of Bitcoin if we're seeing such massive inflows flowing into the Bitcoin ETFs, buying up all the Bitcoin. And so with that being said, taking a look at the weekly Bitcoin chart, and right now the price of Bitcoin is basically running into the old all-time high that we set back at the end of the 2021 bull market, and that all-time high is sitting at around 69,000. And in fact, over the last one day, we saw a quick move to the upside, just a candle wick to the upside that came very close to the all-time high, within $100 or so of the all-time high. And so obviously at this stage, we could see new all-time highs for the price of Bitcoin honestly any day now, especially if we see another day of massive inflows in the Bitcoin ETFs. And so just keep that in mind, prepare for new all-time highs potentially coming very soon for the price of Bitcoin. And typically when Bitcoin breaks out above the old all-time high, it does not stop there. It continues to run a lot higher. And so if you want me to make more of a long-term prediction video, my predictions for the coming bull market and where the bull market might top out at in terms of when or at what price, then let me know in the comment section down below if you want more of a long-term prediction video, because I can make that video if you guys want it. But either way, it's very clear that right now the price of Bitcoin is still within the larger bullish trend here on the weekly time frame, which I've actually been saying here on the channel since the beginning of 2023. You can even go back on my videos back then and you can see that is exactly where I started to flip a lot more bullish. And of course, the USDT market cap is still in a bullish trend, which is bullish for the overall Bitcoin and crypto market, because usually if Tether is printing more and more USDT, then that shows there's an increasing demand for USDT, which basically increases liquidity in the crypto market if there's a lot more stable coins circulating in the crypto market. And so once again, on the larger timeframes, this is simply another bullish signal that we're seeing right now, pumping the price of Bitcoin and altcoins. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, it's very clear that right now we're still clearly within a bullish trend, forming higher lows and higher highs, with bullish momentum showing up here in the daily Bitcoin MACD. And now, obviously, for a little while now, we've seen the daily Bitcoin RSI sitting in overbought territories, which typically means we're somewhat overheated in the short term, and we're technically due to see some sort of short-term cool-off, basically a pause or a setback from the bullish price action, but that is just based on the RSI alone. And remember, we ideally need to factor in everything, not just pay attention to one single indicator. And so especially if BlackRock, for example, is buying hundreds of millions of dollars, or Fidelity is buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin just in a single weekday, then it doesn't really matter too much what one single indicator is telling us on the chart if there's hundreds of millions of dollars pumping the price of Bitcoin each weekday. And so that's why I make sure to cover the Bitcoin ETFs each weekday whenever they're trading, because it is definitely an important factor that we need to pay attention to. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 8-hour time frame, right now we're still potentially seeing a bearish divergence on the 8-hour chart, with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI. And as of right now, we do have one early confirmation signal, just one 8-hour candle close confirmed in the red, which is technically one confirmation signal of the bearish divergence. And if we're taking a look at this last bearish divergence, that simply played out in the form of a sideways consolidation before moving up in the bullish trend later on. But remember, we also need to factor in those Bitcoin ETFs, because we saw what happened when we saw massive inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs right here. And usually when the price of Bitcoin is chopping around sideways, that's usually on a weekend when the ETFs are not trading, or for example, last Thursday or Friday when we didn't really have any major inflows. And so just because we're seeing this bearish divergence in the short term, once again, if we see another massive inflow into the Bitcoin ETFs, then that can pump the price of Bitcoin here in the short term again. But either way, whether you're bullish or bearish, you can actually make money in either direction with long positions or short positions. And personally, I take trades just like that over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comments. And if you use that link down below this video, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you click that link down below this video, it'll take you to this page right here, where you can claim an exclusive 200 USDT airdrop position. And so, for example, if you're bullish in the short term, you could claim this position and use a long position to actually profit from bullish price action. Or vice versa, let's just say if you're thinking we might see a pullback, then you can use this airdrop to claim a short position and make profit if we go to the downside in that case. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well check this out. Once again, a link down below. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit, or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And also right now, there is an exclusive Apple Watch giveaway happening over at Bitflex, but only if you use the link down below this video. And so once again, if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well check out those links down below if you want to get those extra bonuses or enter those giveaways. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, looking at the last 12 hours of history, we can see a decent level of liquidity sitting at around 64,500, and another decent level of liquidity sitting at around 69,000, basically the all-time high. And in case you're new to all of this, usually the price of Bitcoin gets attracted towards where there's most liquidity. And so considering there's quite a lot of liquidity just below the current price at around 64,500, honestly, I would not be surprised if we first see a quick move there before then eventually breaking out above the all-time high. But either way, whether we actually hit around 64,500 or not, it's practically inevitable at this point that we're going to eventually break out above the old all-time high, above that $69,000 level, considering we're in a very strong bullish trend on the larger timeframes. And if we're taking a look at the ETH to US dollar chart on the weekly time frame, right now the price of ETH is finally breaking out above this significant area of resistance, which was sitting in between around 3.4K to 3.5K. And now, technically speaking, we have not yet fully confirmed the breakout because we've not yet seen an actual weekly candle close confirm above 3.5K. But with that being said, obviously right now, as of recording this video, the price of ETH is already trading well above 3.5K. And so at this point, technically speaking, the next major target is simply the all-time high. That's the next significant level of resistance, sitting at around 4.8 to 4.9K. And also, if we end up seeing this weekly candle close confirm above 3,500, then this area of previous resistance should become new support, just in case we see any sort of short-term pullback. And obviously, in terms of the larger trend at play, we're clearly still within a bullish trend, and obviously breaking out above resistance is a bullish signal. This is bullish price structure. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is still clearly within a bullish trend, trending to the upside, forming higher lows and higher highs, and also showing a lot of bullish momentum here in the daily Ethereum MACD. And now, once again, just like Bitcoin on the daily time frame, the RSI is indeed overbought for Ethereum. But like I said earlier, if we're seeing a lot of other bullish signals, then that can actually override what the RSI is showing, because once again, this is just one indicator out of many. And in case you're wondering, I'm still in my Ethereum long position that I entered all the way back down here, and I actually shared multiple times right around where I entered my position. I shared that here on the channel saying I am going long on the price of ETH. And obviously, since then, we've seen quite a significant move to the upside, which if you took that long position back here a couple of weeks ago, then obviously you should be doing very well right now. But if you're new to the channel and you missed that trading opportunity, do not worry. I always share my next trading opportunities here on the channel as soon as I see them on the chart. And so it's important to subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on these trading opportunities that I share here on the channel, which could potentially make you a lot of money. And once again, personally, I take those trades over on Bybit, link down below if you want to get those extra bonuses. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Solana, right now the price is still trading within this important area of resistance, sitting in between around $120 to $140. And so right now the price of Solana is potentially in a similar situation for the price of ETH on the weekly time frame, but basically delayed around 1 to 2 weeks. Because obviously the price of ETH was just running into this significant area, but we're now finally seeing a breakout to the upside. Whereas the price of Solana is still currently in this area of resistance and yet to actually see that breakout. But ultimately, if we do end up confirming a breakout above $140, then we could potentially start targeting the old all-time high at around $260. But at least for now, in the short term, the price could still somewhat struggle in the short term in this price range. But obviously, that does not necessarily change the fact that we're still within this much larger bullish trend here on the weekly time frame. And just giving you a quick update on the price of Cardano on the daily time frame, which is still continuing this breakout to the upside from this bullish cup and handle pattern, which could also be seen as a bullish inverse head and shoulders pattern. But either way, they both give us the same price target, which for Cardano right here is sitting at around 87 cents. And so from the point of the breakout to that price target, that was a total opportunity of around a 37% move to the upside. And so far from the breakout to where we are right now, as of recording this video, we've already moved around 20% to the upside with no leverage. And so, of course, just for example, with a 10x leverage long position, that would be around a 200% profit just in less than a week. And so once again, this was a more recent trading opportunity that I shared here on the channel just around 1 week ago. And so once again, this is why it is important to subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on if you want to know about these trading opportunities before they actually play out. And right now, in case you're wondering, from the current price as of recording this video to the price target, there's still around a 14% move to the upside left to go before we actually hit the price target and complete this pattern. And now, of course, the price of Cardano can go higher than the price target. It's just that is the technical price target for this specific pattern right here. And once again, if you want to take those trades, check out those links down below this video in the description or in the pinned comment to get those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto to start with, whether we're bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can make money in all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.